Well, see, that's why we call this channel Rusty Judgment. I don't want to build a motor again. Dawn hates it in here, by the way. Just FYI, she hates coming in here. This is going on Rusty Judgment.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome to Rusty Judgment. My name is Tom, and today we are working on a 1990 brick nose Bronco. I bought this Bronco, I don't know, a while back out of Georgia, and I've been slowly getting it together. And right now what we're gonna do, because I'm assembling the engine and I'm coming to the place where I'm missing lots of parts, which is fun. It's all like the bolts and stuff. And so because I'm missing all the parts, we're gonna start digging through here, which is the back of the Bronco. I'm hoping there's a bunch of bolts somewhere because I'm missing a lot of hardware, which I think is kind of gonna be the story behind this. I have done plenty of work on engines before. I have never assembled an entire engine from a bare block. This motor came to me as a raw machined bare block. All right, boys and girls, we're gonna make a Ford Windsor look good. I'm gonna put a really light coat on first just to cover everything, and then we'll go back. This is so gratifying. I spent like almost the entire day cleaning this motor up so I could do this thing right here. Now I'm working on pistons, rods, rings, all the other shenanigans to get it done. I've made some mistakes, and I'm going to show those to you now. These are actually the pistons that came with the motor. It was bored out. But what I did wrong was, I don't know, I can't get the piston to articulate in there. So here's how the piston should move, like that. It should spin really freely on the wrist pins. What I did was I took these down to my in-laws shop and I pressed that pin through the connecting rod into the pistons. Well, what happened then is, I'd say 4 out of the 8 pistons got like this, where I can't move it. Like, I can move it if I say, there you go, I can move it, but it's supposed to spin freely because that's gotta like constantly be articulating while the engine is running. Anything will cause resistance and it will cause heat, which then is no good. So I'm taking all the pistons apart. I'm putting in new pistons and new wrist pins. You're supposed to heat them up and drop them in. So I'm doing that, and then I'm getting all the rings set. I gapped all the rings already. Getting all the rings set. I also, oh no, these are the rod bearings, or the crank bearings. And so what I did wrong there, because this is my second set of bearings. When I dropped them in here, I'll spin you around here. Alright, when I dropped them in the cylinders here, I may have smacked the crank, which I've polished the crank up and it's all good now, but I may have got some debris between some of the bearing seats and the crankshaft. Anyway, that was also a learning mistake. I painted this engine. This engine just was a raw block. Put the freeze plugs in. That's a new crankshaft in it. These heads I bought for $150. They are GT40P heads. They came off of a 1997 Ford Explorer. They're supposed to flow better than the stock 351 heads. I bought a cam kit that came with a cam, timing chain, lifters, springs, guides, all the stuff in the heads to beef up the heads too. So then I had the heads rebuilt. They just reseated all the valves and cleaned the whole heads up and assembled them. I was going to do that myself, but I just ran out of time. So that's the heads ready to go. This all goes in the engine. So today I'm fixing my wrongs here. I have spent a lot of time on this motor and it is still not assembled lower end. So today I'm just going to spend some time, get the bottom end all put together, get the pistons put back right, and hopefully not mess anything else up so I can get this motor together. Because I want to push out this Firebird and push the Bronco in so we can get the motor into it, because it's springtime here in Minnesota and I want to drive the Bronco. Alright, motor bottom end is, all the pistons are almost in, but we need to interrupt what I'm doing here. One of the boys' bikes, is something wrong with it. Alright, let's see this bike. So, that's loose.
Oh.
So that one needs to come out. Alright. Hold the back seat just so I can.
Papa only have the tough.
No, I just know where his is. I don't know where mine are. We just needed some Allen wrenches.
Yep.
Filming right now. Gage?
No.
Yeah, we are.
No. Oh. I didn't know.
Nah, you do. Alright. Is it tight? Is it everything you ever hoped and dreamed?
Yeah.
Is the seat good?
Uh-huh.
Yeah? Alright.
And let's see, you can adjust.
So here's what we did. His top screw came loose and the handlebars could pull right up and out of there. So, you good now?
Yeah.
Alright. So you guys both gonna go ride bike then? Yeah? Alright. Okay, so this is the second time that I have done main bearings and pistons and wrist pins. I pressed the wrist pins in before I read how to do this, and I scored all the bores, which is what I showed earlier, how the pistons wouldn't articulate on the connecting rods. That's no good. They're supposed to be like, they're supposed to move extremely freely. So, we got new pistons, new wrist pins, got it all put together right. So you're supposed to heat up the end of the connecting rod and just drop it in. By heating up the connecting rod, it expands, so metal expands. You dropped it, and then you have your press fit. So what else I did wrong when I put it together, why I needed new main bearings, was I accidentally dinged up the crank surfaces. And so, like, I don't know if you can see, there's like this rubbing lines you see, that's scoring. So that is no good. That's metal rubbing metal, and that will just perpetually get worse over time. So we just got new main bearings, and then I buffed out all the nicks and dings with emery cloth and got it to a polish again. I used to be a machinist, so I know how nice it needed to be. So these are garbage. I also did not originally, this is the second time assembling this engine. I also didn't originally gap the rings. I didn't think it was that big of a deal. Well, then I found out it kind of is a big deal. I could not, once I assembled the engine the first time, I couldn't rotate the motor. It was like tight. You couldn't move it. Now I have 7 pistons in. This is the last one. And because I did everything correctly this time, I can still turn the motor over by hand. Kind of important. These are in, gapped, everything's done correctly this time. The other thing that I struggled with was I ordered this through Summit. It's specifically for the diameter of the pistons. It's to help get all your rings in, because your rings need to be compressed to slide down into the cylinder. So this works really well. You just kind of get them in. It's a tapered inside bore of this is what helps it get them all in. So now they're in, and then as the piston gets pushed down inside of here, it'll bring the rings tighter and then allow it to drop into the bore, which is way easier. I was using a twist clamp style one before, which was a huge pain. So I recommend this tapered. Granted, it's kind of like a one and done. It's specifically made for this diameter bore, so unless you're going to be doing other engines with the same diameter, you'll have to get a specific one per piston size. But super easy compared to what it was. So now, what I have to do, because all the pistons needed to be with the dimple forward, and then all the connecting rods need the dimple into the interior of the motor. So we're going to pull off the lower and then set it down in the bore. And then what I didn't do the first time, which I have to do now, is guide this lower section here not to ding the crankshaft. And then you just kind of work it back and forth and keep the... There you go. Now it's in. That ring is a lifesaver. So now that it's down there, so we're down here on the crankshaft, and now this motor, I don't know if, so this is only the second motor I've ever done any of this to. All the rods are marked, so you line up the markings, and then the big chamfer also needs to go towards the crankshaft, so big chamfer towards crankshaft. Which this isn't a tutorial video because I'm not a professional. So if you want to learn how to put a motor together, go check out somebody else's video. So there, then we're just going to hold the cap on while I screw this on. And then now the whole bottom end is assembled. Now I'll roll the motor over and then start torquing down everything to the correct torque specs. I don't want to build the motor again.
Is that on the list of things you hope to hire out in the future? Like,
no, I was telling my dad this yesterday. So if you don't know, it's way more expensive to build an engine than to buy an engine. Not brand new. Brand new to brand new, it's probably cheaper to build your own engine. But if you're just looking, like this is a 351 Windsor, if you just found an existing 351 Windsor that somebody else built, or a used one, that's going to be way cheaper than trying to rebuild one yourself. So unless you're super particular and you want to know every little component inside it, just buy one. Or unless you think it's fun. This feels good having it this far. This is the biggest pain out of the whole motor assembly. Okay. There we go, there's our beautiful motor. The Bronco is stuffed with all of the parts that they had with it. A lot of this stuff is junk, but some of it is also good yet. So what we're going to do is we're going to dig through here, we're going to pull everything out, find out what's inside there that I need and that I can use and that I want. I'm hoping there's a bunch of bolts somewhere because I'm missing a lot of hardware, which I think is kind of going to be the story behind this. So we're just going to jump right into it and we're going to start ripping everything out of here. Core support, that's rotten. Core support has the hardware in it. Skid plate for the gas tank, no hardware. Original gas tank we're not using, we have a new one. Ooh, but it has a fuel pump, so maybe we will use that. Exhaust, we are not using that. Front bumper, bent up. We have a new one. Well, not new, a different one. A better one. Grill in good shape. Why we have two dashes. Shroud, dash cover. Oh, it's not broken at all. This is for underneath the grill on the nose. That could have been put on top, not underneath everything, but that's for under the hood. Headlight, crack. Oh, we got some bolts. Another headlight, not broken. Intake, coolant lines. This is one of the reasons why I bought this truck. AC with condenser. New radiator. Alright, this is the glass for the rear window, which we're just going to set it back here so it doesn't get broken. It was too far forward. Alright, now I think I found what I was looking for, at least I hope. It looks like I found some hardware here. So, let's take you guys off of here. Just some rando stuff here. There, but we got a whole bunch up here. So I'm just gonna go through this. Here's flywheel and stuff. This interior is gonna need some good cleaning. Oh, there's some more hardware. We're gonna take all this hardware into the garage. Try and find what I'm looking for. Ooh, that is some gross looking carpet and, well, and seats, but okay. So we're gonna magically take all this into the garage. Alright, well, I could not find the 2 bolts I need to bolt the oil pump on. So I'm gonna have to figure out what thread size it is and then go to the store and get some bolts. But what I'm gonna do now, because I can't put the pan on, the oil pan, without this bolted down, and I don't want to have to run it down right now. I found all the bolts for the pan, so I'm going to get all those bolts cleaned up, because they're gross. And then, right now I'm going to put the cam in though. So, because I can put the cam in, the timing chain on, and the timing chain cover on, before this gets bolted down. We're going to do that now. So right now the motor's at top dead center. So this cylinder, which is cylinder 1, is at top dead center, which basically means like that cylinder 1 is all the way up. So now I got a cam from Edelbrock, and I'm going to install it. Okay. Right. No, that goes forward. Did I get the wrong cam? What on earth? Well, that's not right, that's for sure. Alright, we're going to put this guy back in the bag. We're going to find out why the cam's not right. Well, see, that's why we call this channel Rusty Judgment. Since this block was completely machined and stripped and disassembled, the camshaft bearings were removed. So, silly me, I overlooked putting camshaft bearings in here. I just ordered off of Summit some camshaft bearings. They should be here in a few days. So I am dead in the water again with this motor. See, this is what happens when you don't know what you're doing and you're just guessing. It takes a lot longer and you make mistakes, but we're learning. So since it's going to be a couple days till my cam bearings are in so I can finish assembling the motor, we are going to make the Firebird move. I have done work to the Firebird. I haven't showed you any of the work I've done to it, and then I kind of stopped because it was turning into a super big project. And I kind of have a lot of projects piling up right now, so I think what I need to do is I need to get some of them done so that I don't have such a big list of projects. So the Bronco's the quickest one to get running. So we're going to do the Bronco right now. Then we're actually going to move into the plow truck, because I've done a lot of work to that too, but that's also not done. Then we're going to jump back on the Firebird. At least that's the plan right now. So right now, I'm going to... all the stuff on top of the Firebird, I understand, yes, the Firebird may be a big shelf right now. But it's all stuff for the Bronco, so I'm going to relocate it so that we can get the Firebird out of here. We're going to put the Firebird into the shed, the new shed, or well, the old shed relocated. So we're going to put the Firebird over there and then get the Bronco in here so that I can get it all situated. I'm going to sand down the frame, paint the frame, get it all cleaned up and pretty so that when we set the motor in, I will never have to take the engine back out. I'm just going to get to it. I don't know if you guys want to watch or not. Sure, look at all this. Look at all this glorious stuff. Dawn hates it in here, by the way. Just FYI, she hates coming in here. It is a good looking car. I know that it's super sketch and rough, but this is a really good looking car. It's a 73 Firebird if anyone's curious. So we're going to push it out now, and then I'll eventually Probably later today. I'll get it. I'll use the skid loader probably and pull it up and put it inside the shed so that it's not out in the rain. But then we'll get the floor cleaned up and we'll get the Bronco rolled in here. We got a box steering wheel. This dude right here is extremely excited about the Bronco. Right? Yeah? Alright. We'll just sweep the floor up here. Yeah, we'll get the floor cleaned up and then we'll get the Bronco rolled in here. Alright, well I got the Bronco up here with the skid loader. Now I'm gonna slide it. It's kind of offset. I'm gonna slide it over and get it into the garage. I know a lot of people don't like these Broncos, but I am a big fan of the brick nose front end. So, slide it over and we'll get her on into the garage. Alright, it's in here. It's a lot shorter than the Firebird was. Alright, this is as ugly as she'll get. There's some dings and stuff here. We're gonna get all that fixed. Now the fun can begin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, now the fun can begin. Alright, well thanks for watching Rusty Judgment and part 2 of the Bronco build. It's coming along. I'm super excited to get this motor dropped in there and see if we can hear this thing start. Well, I built it, so hopefully it'll start. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.